Hey everyone, Joe here. In this video, I'll be walking you through my exact sales process that I get 0 objections from in my SMMA. So if you don't know me, I'm Joe, and I run a 40K a month SMMA, and also I teach everyone how to do it on the internet for free. I'll be walking you through my exact sales principles, very in depth, and then as well my exact sales process with examples from all my sales slideshow and all this good stuff. The first thing I enjoy doing is something that's called pre-handling. So pre-handling an objection is actually handling the objection before it comes up. So this could be done in one of a few ways. So the way I like doing this is, I'll get to this in a minute, is pre-handling everything with a VSL before they get on the call. But pre-handling can also be done at the beginning of the sales call. It could be framing the sales call. It can be the line of questioning. It can be just giving a response that also handles an objection in the future. So an example of this, let's say, when you're getting on the call, you can set the expectation of the sales call. So as an example, if you get on the call, hey Chris, so this is exactly what we'll be doing today. We'll be just taking you through a few quick questions about your agency to see if I can actually help you and if our programs can be a good fit. And at the end, I'll also pull up a quick slideshow showing absolutely everything I have to offer, what exactly we do and how I can help you. And then at the end, I just let you know if it's going to work or not. How does it sound? And the reason I say that is I'm pre-framing the whole sales process. So they agreed to going through the sales process. They agreed that there's going to be a line of questioning at the beginning, and they agreed as well, which is the most important part of this, that they will decide at the end of the call. Because right there, you can pre-handle that objection where they go, I don't know if I'll decide at the end of the call, I might need time to think about it, etc., etc., etc. And it's better getting that objection out of the way within the first few minutes of the sales call versus at the end. Because at the end, that's 45 minutes of your time wasted versus you just simply getting that objection out of the way from the first question in the whole sales call. So I really enjoy pre-handling right away. And for me to minimize the amount of objections that I actually get, I want to handle everything up front. The more I can do that, the less objections I get at the end. And one thing that you'll find is that real estate agents is my niche, obviously. So there's about 5 to 10 objections that will come up every time. And it's going to be, why don't you work on referral? Why don't you work after I get the deal? Another one is, I don't want to pay ad spend. Another one is, I don't trust you. I've been scammed by a company before. Another one is, I don't like Facebook ads because X, Y, and Z. So there's a few common objections that come up. And you'll find with every single niche, you'll have this exact same thing. There'll be 5 to 10 objections, and every niche will be different, but there will be very common objections because they all have the same job. They all run into the similar problems, at least. I'm not saying they'll have the exact same, but it'll be very similar variation of the objections. So we want to handle those up front. The more sales calls you take, the more objections you can pre-handle at the beginning of the actual call. The next point is we want to make a no-brainer offer. And I've talked about this before, but it's unbelievably important. I cannot not mention it in the sales process because even if you're okay at sales and you have a no-brainer offer where it's, I will refund you if I don't perform, or I'll work for free if I don't perform. Something like this. If you have a very, very good offer that is irrefutably good, then you just have to be all right at sales. And obviously, if you have a good offer and you're great at sales, it's a deadly combination because you can probably get a 20% close rate or 15% close rate just off that. But if you're a beginner starting out and you want a 5 to 10% close rate and you're all right at sales, just dial in your offer. Make it a no-brainer. If you want a free course on offer building, I have a free group in the description that you can join. Just get my free course. There's no paid thing, just literally just completely free if you want to build an offer in there. I'd recommend going through that and then just exactly building an offer that they can't refuse and getting on the sales process, really just making them feel stupid for saying no. That is the best sales technique, is having a great offer, because it is better to be all right at sales and have an amazing offer than really be amazing at sales and have the worst offer in the world. That's why if you're hiring a sales rep for your agency, as an example, a sales rep that comes in and you have a horrible offer will probably struggle starting off. But if you have a no-brainer offer and they just have the basics of sales, they will close very, very well. The next sales tip is that we want to make content assets to make the prospects more warm. And the more content the person consumes, the warmer they are. So the closer they are to close. So what do I mean by warm and cold? So I've talked about this in my last videos, but you know what cold means when you're talking to a prospect. So a cold prospect is you've never talked to them before. They don't even know who you are. So example, cold calls, we're reaching out to real estate agents or landscapers or floor designing that they've never heard of us before, and it's a first time reaching out to them, right? So a warm prospect would be someone who has heard about our stuff, has consumed content about our stuff, is interested in buying and learning more about our stuff. So that is a warm prospect. So they're further on the sales process than a cold prospect would be back here. So I think of this as a progression, right? So here's not sold, here's sold. A warm prospect is probably over here to sold. It's probably further down the line. A cold prospect's all the way over here. They've not heard about our stuff. They don't even know who they are. They don't even trust us, right? So the reason we want to make content, the reason I make content, the reason I had a VSL from my agency, the reason why I advise people in the agency space to make content assets for their clients to consume before they get on the sales call, because it is so much more trust, and it is so much better to warm up prospects with VSLs and content assets. Because if you're, let's say, booking a sales call with an agency, and then you cannot find any social presence online, you don't even know who they are, the guy just has LinkedIn, and then you just go to his page, there's no trust, they just have a company website. That is it. If you are an agency, and then you have content on your YouTube channel walking you through problems in your space, in your niche, that they need and they require and find value in, they are building so much trust that you actually know your stuff that you were talking about. They're very confident in you because that you've already helped them before getting on the sales call. And again, this is the law of reciprocity, where if you give someone enough value to the point where it's one-sided, where it's completely for free, they feel the need to buy. This is that again. So we want to leverage the law of reciprocity at every single chance we get. This is one of them. If you can, if you know enough about your niche, and if you don't know enough, learn more, and then you know enough to upload free content assets onto the internet to warm up the people in your niche before they get on the sales call. Very good thing to do, because that's so easy to close prospects on the sales call. I'll tell a quick story. My first high ticket course that I bought, I was watching this person's content all the time. It wasn't Ayman Ghazi, by the way, it's someone else. Okay, let's just actually tell you who it is. So it's Charlie Morgan, if you know the SMMA guy, Charlie Morgan. And before I joined that course, before I got on the sales call for the course, I watched a 2 hour and 45-minute video from one of his mindset modules. And what it did is like flipped 10 paradigms in my mind when I was starting off. This is like, what, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. Flipped so many paradigms. I was mind blown from what he just said. And I'm like, gave me a new frame. So he gave a lot of value. Let's say that, right? So he changed a lot of paradigms. So I got on that sales call. I'm like, I need to work with this guy, right? And every single person that I know who has been in that program has been pre-sold before getting on the sales call, because of the content that guy releases. So full credit to Charlie Morgan. He is very well at this. He uploads so much content assets, and he'll put hour-long videos in there. So when people book into his sales call, they are already pre-sold. So just for that story, I want you to take away that concept, where content warms up the prospects and gets them pre-sold. So do that with your own agency. So I briefly mentioned this in the start of my video, but what I want you to do, if you can, is I've talked about building a pre-call video in the past, but build a pre-call video before your sales call that is 10 to 15 minutes long. Mine is around 11 minutes. That warms up the prospects before getting on the sales call. And right here, I put something here. Pre-call video iteration and re-recording based on feedback from sales calls. So I put a little diagram here for you guys. It's very simple. But this is how I want you to go about it. So the pre-call video is very simple. It's before they get on the sales call, they watch a video. So what we want to do is, going back to the concept of pre-handling, we want to pre-handle all the objections we can think of in that pre-call video. So let's take a few examples of what I use for mine. I only work on a commission basis with my objections all the time in my agency when I didn't have a pre-call video. First thing I did when I was building my pre-call video is did a whole slide dedicated to debunking that objection where they only wanted to work on commission and they only wanted to pay us after commission. And I basically gave like 5 really good reasons why we can't do that. And what I did is, the more sales calls I took, the more big objections I got with that, right? So literally, the more objections I got, I write them down every single time. This guy said this, this guy said this. Then I would re-record the pre-call video based off of those objections. So as an example, I did a upfront cost one, like I mentioned. So the reason we have a small upfront cost is XYZ reason. Next one is the market was bad all the time. So I was getting, I don't want to work right now, it's December, I'm not getting any business, XYZ. In the pre-call video, the next pre-call video I did is I deliver these results regardless of market conditions, right? And I knew that to be true because my Google system is quite good. So I had no problem saying that. So everybody in the bad market of that year now would be like, this guy can deliver results for me regardless of market conditions. That is unheard of. And because that would be an objection the salesman, I have to refute it, take 5 minutes to refute the objection every single time. But when you get it out of the way, like the whole point of this, everybody, is to really just make them run out of objections on the sales call. Like keep writing down the objections, re-record your pre-call video off of those objections, take more sales calls, get more objections, re-record. And I think I've recorded my pre-call video a total of 6 times, if I'm going to be honest. I had a really bad one to start, got a better one, until I get the one I have right now. And it's done very, very well. So that might seem like a lot of work. It's a lot of videos to record. But this is our agency and it's our sales process. We want to make it as easy for us to close, if you have a closer, for them to close. So do this and you'll handle every objection every single time. So one more tip is I would recommend having the person selling doing the pre-call video, but it's not necessary at all. Like you're out of luck if you have closers here, which is not an issue. But it is great if you're thinking of somehow outsourcing this to a person to record. I would recommend you do it. And the reason I do that is because I've found that when they watch the pre-call video, they were much, much more comfortable with me than, let's say, someone else. An example, if it was you in the pre-call video. And the reason for this is just comfort. Like they know your voice, they trust you already, you have a good tonality, etc. Obviously, I was very upbeat in my pre-call video. I was kind of salesy to the point where I was just very friendly, and they didn't mind talking to me after because they knew me as a person already, and they knew my personality. So we want to be comfortable with them, and if you're a social person and you can be nice and enthusiastic in the pre-call video, they'll already like you. So this is a great start just going into the sales process because they're comfortable with you. So quickly, I want to make the distinction between the easiest clients to close on the sales process versus the hardest. So just straight away, cold outreach prospects, like I talked about before, are going to be the hardest prospects to close pretty much every time. There is that 1 to 5% exception to the rule, right? But that doesn't make the rule. So we're going to talk about the general idea of this. They're harder to close because they've never heard about you. They are from a source that you've just reached out to the person in your team has called them, ask if they want something, and they hop them to call. Versus, let's contrast that with someone who has a problem in their current situation, sees an ad for it, or sees your content for it, already knows they have a problem and books it, right? Because when you're cold calling, you're kind of diagnosing a problem. Like, hey, this is my thing. You can get this in this amount of days. And obviously, we want to make it sound the best as possible. Like, there's no effort in our cold call script. But when they are voluntarily booking themselves in without getting pitched, without like a massive talking to a person, script, anything like that, they've already diagnosed themselves with a problem that they need to solve. So this is why, for me, it has been very, very good to leverage paid ads. So as I was running my agency, I transitioned from doing my cold calling team and just cold calling to primarily most of my bookings were coming from ads. And then I realized one step further than that in being warm as a prospect is going to come from content, because they already are familiar with you and they have a problem that they're solving and they're booking it, right? So if you're thinking about it this way, hardest to sell cold prospects, cold email, cold calls, easiest to sell content, and ads is going to be somewhere in the middle. So quickly, I'm going to dive into some types of selling before getting into my exact sales process. So I want to differentiate between emotional and logical selling. So just as a preface to this, we want to know this, right? Before we go into this, value is created when pain is alleviated. People aren't buying because of the money they'll make. They're buying because of the pain that's being alleviated from the money that problem solves, right? Because money is not the root of our desires. It's what money gets us. Money wouldn't be valuable if it didn't get us things, right? So emotional selling first is digging into the pain of their current situation deeply Then getting them to name a goal that's in the future and then defining it. And we want to define it deeply and really dig into it. Next, we want to get them to admit that they cannot solve it on their own and they need help. So a few things here, right? Let's break this down. The reason I said digging into the pain of their current situation deeply, because, like I said just now, pain is what gets the customer to buy. So with emotional selling, we want to dig into all of their pains within their current situation. Because obviously they're on the call for a reason, right? They would not be joining the call if they didn't have a reason to join, if they didn't want something. So first of all, we're going to actually map out their current situation and where they are, right? So what is the problem you have right now? Obviously, I'm not going to use exact questions. I'll dive into exact questions in a minute here. But I want to know everything about the current problem. So where are you getting your leads? How are the quality of leads? How is that resulting for you in results every month as a real estate agent, as a landscaper, etc.? Right? What is that getting you? So let's say they're getting them bad results. Got it. So why do you think that's not working? Why do you think the system isn't currently working? Then you go, why, right? So it's like Socratic reasoning. Like we're going why, down to a point where they're like, oh, I'm just really in a bad situation. I don't know what to do. Like that's the point we want to get them to, because we want to get them to admit they don't know what to do and they need help. What we also want to do is define a goal in the future that they desire. This could be adding a few more listings a month as a realtor, a few more deals a month as a landscaper, a floorer, etc. We want to define that very heavily. So when we have these two poles defined on each side, we have their current situation that they're struggling in and don't know what to do. Then we have a future situation that's very, very defined, and they're unbelievably emotional at this point, guys, because they have a situation where they don't want to be. They're very emotional about this. They don't want to be here, but they want to get here, and they don't know what to do. So they're in their emotions most of the time when you have these two poles defined. Got it. So Sarah, why do you think you can't get to this future situation from your current situation on your own right now? Why do you think you can't get there on your own? And then most of the time they're going to go, I just don't know what to do, or it's going to be X, Y, Z reason. And then we want to get them to admit that they cannot get there on their own. This is the ideal scenario. So then next you pull up a slideshow, you go over what you have to offer, then you go to your pitch. That's how I structure my sales process. And that's emotional selling. Let's quickly get into logical selling. So logical selling is being unbelievably logical about the problems we're solving for them and why our program will get them to where they want to be. If you think about it, emotional, logical. Logical is just being very logical. Where are you right now? What's the results you're getting? Where do you want to go? Okay? What problems are you facing in your business right now? Right? How can they be solved? Do you know? Then you start diagnosing the problem. These are the problems you have. Then you go, what's the future situation? But the difference between these is that with emotional, you're digging into your life more. Like what problems in your business is this manifesting to in your life? Right? Emotional is like you have problems in your business, this is what we need to do. And we build them like a plan. Because our systems can get you 10 to 20 sellers a month at this rate that results in one listing a month. And then with your pitch, you want to be logical, very straightforward. With my pitch, with emotional selling, I'm much more like, I really want to get you this point, what to get you this Florida trip every year, etc., etc. Right? We want to appeal to their interests and their desires and what they actually deeply want, what that money will get them. With logical, it's like, I can get you this point in the business, no problem. We're going to do this to get there, and I would love to get you there in 3 months. Like, it's completely different, right? So, if I was you, I'd recommend digging into that a bit more with emotional logical selling on your own. It's very good to know. But what I want to quickly tell you about is some situations in sales. So if you've taken sales calls, you know that there's different types of prospects. And there's prospects that if you ask them a question, a qualifying question, they will go on for minutes and minutes and minutes and just talk their life at you. They will go, this is the problem I have, and I'm not doing well with this. I just really want to get here. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. And they just go on rants, tangents, right? When we're selling those type of people, we're most likely going to use emotional selling with. The emotional people we're using emotional selling with. To oversimplify it. That's it. The logical people, on the other hand, are individuals who you're asking questions, qualifying questions. And we're like, God, so how many listings you getting a month right now? 1. God, so where do you think you want to be in 6 months? I just want more money. I want like 3. Like very short, very logical, not giving us any information. So as soon as you ask a few emotional questions to start, and that prospect is not budging, and they're just giving super simple answers, very short, just not enough information for us to emotionally sell, we're going to switch to logical. And like I mentioned before, we're going to be very straightforward, get the problems in the business, ask where they want to get their business in a few months, what's that business going to look like, help us build out a plan for them, show them a slideshow, and then we're going to be very logically oriented when it comes to pitching them and showing them our offer. So this is the differences that I've found that work very well. And I got this information from a very, very, very good closer. I can't really disclose that, but very good. So I learned this actually a month or 2 ago. So this is very important, right? Got it. So now it's time, after 22 minutes, it's going to be a long one, to show you my sales process. And I'm not going to give you exact questions we're going to use in the sales process because I would like you to use this theory to build it on your own. If you would like to implement exactly what I'm showing you, get exact questions for your sales process, I'm going to be releasing it with my community in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be out. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you the outline of my sales process that I use. So let's start off. Rapport. Rapport is building trust. That's all it is if you don't know what rapport means. I usually ask about 3 questions, casual questions, to get familiar with the prospect. So, got up to Casey. So how's your day so far going? How's your week been? How's your new year been? Like, how's your holidays? So simple. Don't overcomplicate this. Just be friendly. That's all we're doing. Be friendly. Open the conversation. We want to just build some rapport with them to start off. Set frame and expectations. Exactly what I said earlier. So got it, Stacy. So what I'm just going to do, if it's okay, I'm just going to quickly ask some questions about your business to see if I can actually help you, and then ask where you want to go to get there. And then after, I'll just pull up a quick slideshow to see our exact process and what I'll be building out for you and what we can move forward with. Then at the end, you can just tell me if it's a no or yes. Something along those lines works great every time. I can do a variety of that every time. I kind of make it off the top of my head. Then we want to dive into line of questioning, right? So the line of questioning is, if you're doing emotional selling, this is more an emotional selling script here. So first, we want to dive into their current problems and what problems they're facing in their current situation and what they're doing about them. So again, how are the quality of your leads? How are you getting leads? What's your business look like? How is that manifesting? What struggles are you having in your personal life and in your business because of this? Then you start listing out everything about your current situation. You want to do, if you're doing emotional selling, we want to do some questions about their life and some questions about the business, right? So next, we want to do the future pacing, where we outline very in-depth what their life will actually look like in the future without the pain from that problem existing. So with that problem removed, what will your life look like? Then it'll be like time freed up, more time, more vacations, more food on the table, travel, pay for kids' education, etc. Right? We'll future pace that. Then again, we have this current problem, the future problem, and then what it'll look like without it. And then we'll go, can you do it yourself? And I'm oversimplifying for the video. Obviously, you'll ask more in-depth and more polite than I am with you on the video. I just want to get the point across. But they want to confess that they cannot do it themselves. So what do you think, Amy, is preventing you from getting to this problem right now? So do you think you can actually fix this problem on your own as of this current moment? Then they'll probably say no, because that's the reason they're on the call. They don't know what to do. Next, we want to do a statement of expertise. So what this is very simple. Got it, Amy. So the perfect thing is I really, really think I can help you. So what we actually do is work with real estate agents around Canada to get them guaranteed 1 listing a month added to their business. I think you're an absolute perfect fit here because you're talking about your current situation where you're getting really, really bad leads from Facebook ads right now. It's just not working the best. So this is why I'll implement my Google Ads system and I'll show you exactly what it's about. But I really think I can help you here. So made that top of my head, but you can do something very similar to that. So we want to do a 3 to 5 sentence statement of expertise. Usually it goes, I am very confident I can help you. Then I think I can help you because X, Y, and Z. And I'd love to get you here in that summary. So then I ask them permission to pull up the slideshow. The key point here I want to get across with the slideshow is, you know about the saying, sell the ends, not the means. And what that means is sell the outcome and not the process. But what I like doing is in the slideshow showing a little bit about the process, but being very results oriented, right? Because we want to show them the system a little bit to build trust that we have the system in place. But at the same time, we want to emphasize the results that the system will get you. So I like walking through the weeks of what it's going to look like. Week 1, this is the expectation. This is going to happen. We'll set up these things, X, Y, Z. Week 2, we'll set up these things. Week 3, 4. Right? Then each week you'll have deliverables on exactly what they will get week by week. Right? So this is what I do. And then next I go, this was well, you 10 to 20 qualified, etc., every single month. So we want to keep selling the ends with that slideshow. So we're going to walk through a slideshow after walking you through the program. I'm not sure what niche you're in or what process you have, so I'm not going to show that just because it's different for every single niche. So then we're going to kind of get into the offer part of everything. So a quick tip that I've figured out for myself that I don't think many people do is usually with the offer, if you're running for local business and you have to do ad spend that they're paying for, best thing to do is mention the ad spend before the offer. What I like doing when we're walking through the process, and I mention that we're setting the Google ads up on this date, then I go, yeah, so our competitors usually do like $80 to $100 in ads a day to get these results. Well, we're only spending $30 a day, and this is getting these results. That's absolutely insane. And I keep going through the slideshow and casually talking about it, but I just slip it in. Like I talk about it and state the ad spend, but then I keep going with the slideshow. So I'll get to the offer in a moment. But when you get to the offer, I state my setup fee and the performance fee, and then I don't state the ad spend anymore. Because it's better to frame it as the ad spend, the performance fee at the end, and not mention the ad spend, because it's more things to add up and more buyer's resistance, more sales resistance. Because they're only thinking of those two after, and then even if they ask you about the ad spend, it still looks better than you price stacking like 5 things, and then it adds up to a few $1,000s, etc. So quick tip, I like doing that, it just sounds much better. Next thing I do is fully handle the commission-only objection again. You might want to do this with a different objection if you're in a different niche, if you don't get this objection. But for my real estate guys, this is very important because I found this is massively helpful. What I was talking about before, pre-handling, this is an example of pre-handling. This is what I have for pre-handling the commission-only objection. And I say, it would be impossible for us to get you these crazy guaranteed listing results without upfront capital. The campaigns wouldn't be done. The only companies that can survive charging this way temporarily are freelancers, beginners from the mom's basement, just playing around. They usually laugh at that. And we go, we're not a beginner company. We don't charge like one. We want an extremely valuable battle tested program. So all companies worth their salt charge this way. It's exactly this necessary upfront capital that enables us to get these amazing results for you. So we like handling that objection again before it comes up at the end when they only want to pay on performance. And if you structure your argument good enough, like we're saying, we're not a beginner company. We don't charge like one. We are a premium service. Next, it would be impossible for us to get you these guaranteed results without paying sales reps, without media buyers, etc., etc. Just framing ourselves as a really very tight company, and we charge premium prices to deliver premium results. And then we just joke about the mom's basement, freelancers, beginner agency owners, because that's how it usually works. That's the example of my pre-handling objection. For that, I would recommend you take some notes from that. Then we want to state some testimonials. So show the testimonials of your service. If you don't have them, I've talked about this in one of my videos before. I'd recommend watching my video that says getting clients with no testimonials. It's very helpful. But if you have no testimonials, I would take the testimonial part out and then I just show a little more about the process because you want to prove that you actually can deliver what you say you're delivering. And that only comes from proving to them that you have it. And that comes from showing the service off, right? And making it look like you know more than them about these things. All right, so next comes the price stacking, and we're getting to the offer now. So this is the most important part, and when your delivery matters even more than the previous part. So I like price stacking. I learned this if you've ever watched Alex Hormozi's $100 million Leads book launch. He had everybody ready to buy a 12 grand product, $12,000 product, when it was just a $30 book. But what he was doing is a very, very good sales technique, and this is called price stacking. So this is a example where I'm showing my database reactivation 5-star campaigns, and I put a worth, right? So this is from my previous slide where I'm giving a timeline like I mentioned, but I copied it, and I started price stacking to see exactly what it's worth. So I go, okay, database reactivation 5 stars worth $1,800. I go to my Google Ads, and then I go, companies usually charge $2,500 retainer each month for this, and our program's 90 days. And then, so it's $7,500. And then I go, with the calendar being booked in with the whole CRM, automated everything, that's $3,000 more. As an entire package, the total value of this program is $12,495. So at this point, they're usually silent because they're like, is this guy really going to pitch me something for $12,500 right now? I don't have that money. What is this guy on about? What we're doing here is effectively anchoring the price to something much, much, much higher. So then we show our price, and the price is very, very, very low. It's very, very important, that we're showing the difference, right? Anything in contrast, like if you're looking at a big, big animal, then we see something that's tiny. It's like, oh my God, it looks so much tiny compared to this thing. Like, it's anything we can use this example with. But with price stacking, we want to anchor it so that the bottom one looks smaller. After that, I go to the next slide, which I'm not going to give you my offer. Don't copy my offer. I go to the next slide, and then I state our price, exactly what we guarantee, and then we stay silent. And usually this is about 10-15 seconds of dead silence of them just processing. And just processing. Right? And then from there, it'll be either, yes, I'm willing to move forward, this sounds good, or it'll be objections that come up. Biggest tip for objection handling, everybody. I had a notepad that I would write down all my objections on. I wish I had it right now, but I don't. So you'd write down all your objections on every single time you get an objection from sales. This is why you record your sales calls and write down the objections. Then I would put it into a spreadsheet. I'd have every single objection listed out. And then I'd create a response for next time. And I would have every single objection pre-handled for next time I take a sales call. And this is fantastic because then you can make a very thought out response to the objection. And that it's like a copy and paste message in your head every time you go and take another sales call with that objection. Or at least you have a better response to it than the last time because it was on whim. Like you just thought of it off the top of your head. Same thing. We're pre-handling. I told you have about 5 to 10 objections max every time that comes up. Same thing. I'm sure that you'll probably get 12 objections on that list that come up. And it's going to be those every time. Very similar at least. That's my tip for handling objections, because you'll get the same ones like, I want to think about it. You'll get no upfront cost, and I've been burned by an agency. Like, those are probably top 3, top 5, some of them in the real estate niche. And you realize that the I want to think about it, you want to get a deposit for, and say we only work with one realtor per area, and we would love to get a deposit. Obviously, we want to, see the exact objection from that. Like, it's probably a smoke screen, so then we want to go back to the program, see the real value. Because with that one, it's like, if you were handed a $1,000 Lamborghini today, and you can sell it for $200,000 the next day, you would find that money to get the Lamborghini. Because clearly there's a deficiency in the value of the program. That's the problem. If you want to think about it, it's just a deflection, and you want to get a deposit to claim your spot. So, all of my waffling aside, thank you guys for watching the video. If you want to get this notion that I made, and also access a free scaling SMA course to get your first few clients, I have a school group that's in the description. There's nothing paid, nothing, get all that for free. Just request to join and I'll accept you in. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and like, that would be amazing. Anyways, have a good day.